Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, we typically feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren, and fear not, you definitely don't want to go to sleep on this episode because today we are talking about the 1984 slasher film, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, it is the film that spawned countless sequels that we may or may not have needed. And then also the beloved, awful, wonderful film that is Freddy versus Jason, and also Robert Englund's big horror career by Wes Craven. So we will get to that here shortly. If this is your first time joining us, thanks for hanging out. We typically go over what we have talked about or messed up on last week. More so mess up or look into, I should say. Some beer of the week that I'll get to in a second, what we've been reading or watching, some news, and then, of course, our main week. BC Kings County Brewers Club, that is out of Brooklyn, New York. This one's for you, Cap. It's a delicious fruited sour coming straight from there. And let me tell you all about it. It is a sour ale with blueberry, tart cherry, and lime. It's got some barley and some wheat in it. It is 5.3% ABV. I chose it number one because this can is just as chaotic as the film is. And then also the beer is a nice fruited sour, so it's kind of got that deep purple blood color to it, because if you know anything about A Nightmare on Elm Street, you know that it is chaotic. You know that it's bloody. Freddy Krueger is just chaos. It's the easiest way I can put that. But with me, of course, is Lauren. Lauren, what is your beer this week?
My beer is from Sideward, but it's not the same one I had last week. This is Affinity for the Unattainable. Much like, how much do these people want to sleep and they just can't attain a good night's sleep? It is a double IPA from Sideward. It is very delicious. It is hazy because I feel like all their IPAs are really hazy.
Say it every week.
Have mastered this style. It's so good. And I feel like this glass is a bit Halloween-y because it's got the little devil-looking thing and little skeletons all over the place. They're big on skeletons. You can see a different, from their beers, you see the Yacht Money on here and you see the NAR one, and that's their 420 beer. It's a fun can.
It's a nice glass. That's a cool
and a fun glass. Yeah.
It's nice. I like that. Everybody, please do us a favor. Go to Hops Geek News anywhere on your podcasting platforms, anywhere on social media. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, drop us a review. Don't forget to hit the notification button, especially on YouTube, because we do a live Cantina hour, which you can go back and listen to. We talk about Agatha episodes 1 and 2. And then one thing that we really want to plug, because it's now October, you can still join. You just won't get a fancy medal, but you will get entered to potentially win a really cool prize pack that we don't know what it is yet, because it depends if you're a Patreon or not. It's a Hops Geek Booze for Haley, where you can help, combat pediatric brain cancer. It's the 5K that we're doing. We're all going to try to sync up on one day and do it together. Not obviously in person. We're going to all run the same day and then maybe meet up afterwards for some good beers. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to watch some Deadpool Wolverine afterwards as a live stream, Disney Plus, since it's going to be there. So if you want to do that, gotta join Hops Geek Booze for Haley. And then also big shout out to our Patreons, who have a lot of them have joined. So patreon.com/HopsGeekNews, or if you just want to PayPal buy us a beer, just show your support of the show without making a commitment, by all means, PayPal.com/HopsGeekNews. Lauren, hit us with your Deadpool and Wolverine update. Speaking of,
it has surpassed Jurassic Park Fallen World.
Thank God. That movie never should have raised that much money.
Well, the next one that it has to to defeat is Star Wars Episode 8.
That would be which one exactly, Lauren? It's The Last Jedi. I'm not even going to let you say it. It's The Last Jedi. Please, Deadpool, Wolverine, help us. You're our only hope. That's impressive still. With it coming on streaming, I am interested to see, it's made a lot of money, man.
I guess it'll be on streaming next week. So this will be the last weekend that it's just in theaters.
Maybe.
But I mean, every weekend it's gone up, and it's now, I think, 22. I'm pulling up my doc here. My doc is always slow.
21. Yep, it's on number 21.
Look at that.
It can drink now. Look at that. Cheers to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Cheers. And you've changed my perception on the Honda Odyssey, because I am not a minivan person. I'm a SUV till I die, because I refuse to get a minivan.
I don't like minivans either.
I need the space in the seats kind of person. Meanwhile, I have one friend that she's like, "You're just being stupid. My minivan is amazing." But I love my SUV. I can pull a boat.
SUV,
but now if I got a minivan, I feel like I would have to get a Honda Odyssey.
I got Traverse,
man. Have to put, Deadpool and Wolverine on it.
I do.
I'm a Highlander.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, speaking of something, I do want to talk about Scott, our Patreons. I love Scott. He always likes to jump in and give us a little bit of tidbits, but I am with Scott on this particular rant. So last episode was Beetlejuice, and we talked about how we liked it. And we emailed us saying that maybe we changed his perception a little bit because his theater experience wasn't great. He had a couple on a first date that were just obnoxious. He had people in front of him. They were just scrolling and they were just chatting away. And honestly, like this has been a big problem with me, like theater experience wise, because I experienced this during Oppenheimer. I've experienced it a lot more. Shoot, there was a movie I went to go see. It might have been Alien Romulus, actually, where this guy's phone kept alarm going off or he was answering phone calls. It's like, have we lost theater
ridiculous etiquette? Just wait till it comes on streaming then.
Don't go to the freaking movie theater if you're just going to sit there and scroll on your phone with the brightness up, because movies aren't cheap these days. They're really not. And then the one Scott went to, like they brought out your food, the couches. It's a lot similar to the one that you and I went to. And so I'm with him, man. Like people have forgotten how to act in movie theaters and it is absolutely ridiculous. Like these movies go to streaming so fast. Don't even leave the house. Like, please do not go to the movie theater if you're just going to be an asshole, because I cannot tell you, I want to just punch you in the face. I don't care if you're a kid. I'm not above punching a child because I want to watch movie that I paid like $20 to go see.
Foreshadowing to the day you end up in jail. Well, that's the thing.
Fun fact, when you're actually, I did punch a bunch of kids on the Disney cruise on accident, but no.
On accident. But like when you go to the movies, that's the whole point is like, I don't check my phone. although I was tempted to check my phone during the Batman because I thought it was so slow, but I still didn't. But like Logan had like a question about Beetlejuice and I'm like, shh, I will answer your questions later. Like
I tell the kids too, like, shh, we will talk after the movie. Ask all your questions after the movie. Jot them down in your little brain.
I always tell them though, be careful when we're walking out of the theater. Don't say spoilers till we're in the car. It's always a big thing with the Marvel movies. I'm like, do not talk until we get into the car. Just wait till we get to the car.
Well, I would hate to ruin that. Like theater etiquette, man. We have forgotten as a society how to act in general. Like I went to go see Under Oath, who I love, man. I'm 20 years strong. Love that band. And this girl behind me was just complaining the whole time about how people are like, these people aren't singing enough. These people aren't doing this. And she was like jumping on people's backs. It's like, first of all, girl, everybody in this concert right now, minus the 10-year-old kids up front with their parents, we're all old. This band came out when we were like 13. And some of you were probably older. Like 2004 is when this album came out. We're old. Okay. We're singing, we're having a good time, but we're not jumping on backs of people at this point. She just was rude and bullying her way around. And it's just like, people have forgotten how to act, especially in theaters. And it just drives me nuts, cause if you want to go to a theater, like I love going to the movies alone. People are like, you go to the movies alone. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to talk during it. Like, well, and then you're not talking to anybody.
I've never gone to a movie alone, but I have been tempted to. But yeah, it's the one time that you're supposed to not have interruptions. I feel like
disconnect, get out of the house, see movies as they were intended.
Rant news. Yes, amen. It should be a theater going experience. Exactly. Which I can't imagine what it was like seeing this movie in theaters. I love that my watch is telling me to stand up. I just set down Apple Watch.
I do have to one more little rant about movie theaters, speaking of, because it's come out a little bit of news right quick. Regal and like AMC and them are talking about putting like bowling in their movie theaters and all sorts of other stuff. And it's like, I don't go to the movies to bowl. That's I don't go to the movie theaters to bowl and do all that. Well, they're trying to get people in there. It's like a big, yeah. I get it, but like, I'm not going. No, I don't go to the movies.
Hugh Jackman's going to save all the movie theaters till he's 90. It'll be fine.
That's true. All right. People have heard enough of me ranting about, if they're even still listening at this point. What have you been reading or watching though this week? I know your list is a lot shorter than mine is.
So my comic that I reviewed this week was Wolverine Revenge by Jonathan Hickman and Greg Capullo. You read this too, right?
I haven't read this issue because I haven't had any time to yet. But yes, I read the first issue.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm going to read this issue. Don't worry. I will.
So just to tease us a little, this is the second issue. The last issue, they killed like everybody. Magneto died, and when Magneto died, it set off like a EMP around the world and all the power went out. And then some other stuff started to happen with some guys that are not so great. Wolverine has, of course, survived because he's a survivor when a lot of other people didn't. Some very well-known names did not. And so this is showing how Wolverine is on a mission to get revenge. But he's not just going for revenge. It's also to try to save what's left of the world. But his main focus is revenge. But one person I will spoil in this that I was excited to see show up is Forge, because Forge, if you're familiar with him, his mutant power is that he can like make all these really cool tools. Like he can just see things and he's like, oh, I can make that. And he makes these amazing weapons, and not just weapons, all sorts of cool tools. So he's, helped get Wolverine what he needed to go and do what he needed to do. So, I mean, it's Jonathan Hickman, Greg Capullo, Wolverine Revenge. You can't go wrong.
The first issue was dope, and I will read the second issue. I'm high on this. You'll hear me talk crap about Lauren's love of Wolverine, but this is one comic you absolutely need to read.
Yeah, I agree. I did watch Penguin, which I guess we're going to talk about that on our Cantina.
Yeah, we talked Agatha episodes 1 and 2 and some Penguin. But Penguin, I will just tell you that it drew 5.3 million viewers across all platforms, which is pretty impressive.
So I really liked Penguin. I'll just say real quick because it'll lead into the next thing I've been watching. It's a strong emphasis on the mob. And I love a good mob story. And that leads me to, if you are a Sopranos fan, there's a amazing documentary on HBO right now. David Chase is the main person they're interviewing, and he created Sopranos. I don't know why you're giggling. You didn't watch Sopranos
because I thought what you were saying. There's an amazing documentary called The Sopranos. Like you were making a joke about The Sopranos or something. I didn't know it was an actual documentary at first. Like in my head, I thought you were like joking, like this documentary about the mob called The Sopranos.
Like Tony Soprano's real. Yeah, that was actually a reality show. They had those were FBI cameras that they were able to capture all of that footage. But no, it's really good. And obviously there gets moments where it's sad because they're reminiscing about everything James Gandolfini went through to get into the mentality of Tony Soprano is actually kind of sad. And then obviously the world lost him, only 6 years after the show. I will say though, I'm going to go ahead and spoil the ending because it's a documentary. The very end of the documentary, and I'm doing this, I mean, I laughed aloud, but still I don't want this to happen to everybody twice. The documentary ended just like the show.
Goes, okay, wow. I do know how the show ends.
He goes, do you want me to tell you exactly how the show actually ended? And then just black.
That's good. Oh, that's real.
Oh, yeah. We were like, I think HBO's website crashed that night. Like, I remember going to the HBO website because we thought our HBO went out.
You're sitting there like, dude, what just happened? And come to find out they're just trolling everybody because that's how the show ended. If you
My theory is the audience got whacked. But yeah, I mean, Wong's watching it now, so everybody should watch it. You should watch Sopranos. Timmy should watch Sopranos.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
And then I started reading Stephen King. I Like It Darker. It's a book of shorts. And I read a Stephen King book last Halloween that was all shorts. And the one thing I like more about this one is it's less misogynistic because it's brand new. It's not written.
They talk about girl shorts. Like, do they have pockets? Do they not have pockets? Are they denim? Are they Dickies? Like, what are we talking?
It's kind of hard to explain. Like, there were certain things when I was reading Skeleton Crew was the one that I read last year, that it starts with the mist and then it's a bunch of short stories. And there were just times where it was just the way the character would describe women, or like the one guy like cheated on his wife and like loved his wife and didn't even feel bad that he cheated on his wife, and the way
I remember you telling me about this one. Yeah.
So it's interesting, but like this one, he mentions COVID in a few of the stories. And so obviously it's very new and you don't see that level of misogyny. And I was curious about that. If I'm like, this must not be Stephen King. I'm guessing this is just the time. And based on he's a good reader. Like, you'll get lost in a very simple story.
No, he's very good. I definitely agree. I don't know why he loves. I don't know. But he just is. Anyways, yeah. I do love Stephen King, but he does tend to get me out like questions sometimes. I'm very much like interesting.
Well, it's hit or miss. But I've been liking this one so far. Like, one of the short stories, it was like, okay, where is this going? And then like the very last sentence, I was like, oh, that was creepy. And the one I'm on now is probably like 130 pages of that. So and I have 30 pages to go, and I have to finish it tonight because I need to know how this ends. I was trying to finish it earlier and I just couldn't. I had too much shit to do. That's what I've been reading.
Life has been busy. I have read a lot this week for nerdinitiative.com, man. I did. A lot of people didn't realize this came back. It is Batman: The Long Halloween. The Last Halloween has come out. Jeff Loeb is back in the writer's seat, and this returns. It's a sequel. Like, there's a holiday copycat killer out, and Batman thinks it's a copycat. He's like, he's convinced because he defeated Holiday, the Long Halloween. And so again, Jim Gordon has lost his kid because Jim Gordon's like the worst father on earth. Gotham is just consuming Jim Gordon to the point where like he's ignoring his family almost because there's so much going on. Robin is in this, Catwoman's in this, and then it actually ends shockingly on a very, very big cliffhanger that I think a lot of people are going to be like, what? So if you've read it, let us know what you thought about that cliffhanger. Lauren, I highly suggest you read this one. It's very, very good. And then another DC comic I did was Zatanna Bring Down the House issue 4. Not totally loving this because I feel like overall the story has been spinning its wheels a lot. But in this issue, Zatanna and Constantine were boyfriend, girlfriend at one point. He has been protecting her she hasn't known it. She's finally getting her powers back. The one thing that stands out with this run, though, is the coloring and the artwork is some of the most beautiful, eye-popping coloring and things that I've seen. So that's a good one. Horizon Experiment, the Manchurian. So this is the first issue in what is going to be a 5-issue mini series of one-shots for Image Comics. They're going to have an NYCC panel. It's basically just like there's going to be, I think it's a Muslim priest. There's like a Muslim zombie killing priest or Muslim exorcist or something like that. There's going to be a bunch of things. So one of them's like some sort of rabbi or Muslim exorcist. And then there's like a zombie one. And then this one is about Chinese spies. It kind of goes into how Chinese spies are very much different. It's basically a Chinese version of James Bond. But they focus on taking out the economy versus like sabotage of like Fist and things like that. It was a good read. Pretty good read. And then one of the Michael Walsh and Toni Marie Griffin, I read their issue number 2 of Frankenstein. This is from Universal Pictures, Skybound Entertainment, and Image Comics. I really like this, man. Like, I'm a big Frankenstein fan. I, for some reason, just love Frankenstein. And what Skybound, Image, and Universal has done is they did Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives. They did Dracula, if you remember James Tynion IV and Martin Simmons. And so now this is Frankenstein. And this is a very, very, very good. This focuses more on the background characters, less so than Frankenstein. Like you get a glimpse of Frankenstein in like a pretty cool couple panels where he's killing somebody and you're like, but for good reason. There's a very good reason. Or Frankenstein's monster, I should say. But it's such a good comic.
I wanted to read the original. I've never read it. But
yeah, I never read the original book, funny enough. Even though I'm a big dude, Roosevelt's has that Universal Monsters line that just came out, and I want the performance hoodie so bad. The gray one. Oh, it's so freaking dope. Anyways.
It's not cold enough here to wear in October.
Oh, come on. It's always hoodie season.
Today is September 24th. When I got in my car, I burned my fingers rolling the windows down.
Ew.
So it's still that hot
68 degrees outside here. I got the window open. I was wearing a hoodie while I was running. It's nice.
And apparently we have a hurricane out in the Gulf, and it was
It's true. It's going to get windy, at least. But yeah. The last comic I've been reading is Kill All Immortals. This is from Dark Horse Comics. Zach Kaplan is the writer. FICO, Ossio, Tiago. There's oh my God. I freaking love this so much. This is one of my favorite books I have read this year so far. This is issue 3. Freya, she is part of the old school's Vikings. If you've heard me talk about that. This one kind of gets into like, hey, is the reporter she's with telling the whole truth? Is she betraying her family on good faith? Like what's going on? But she's such a damn badass. She's kicked so much ass. Oh my God. She's a female John Wick and it's so good. So those are the books I've been reading. Penguin and Agatha. You're going to get our thoughts on Canteen Hour. Go back and listen to that. I have watched Supernatural. I have finished season 12. Big moment for me.
Wait, so what happened in the last thing you saw?
Season 12?
Yeah.
Oh God. So they just kind of defeated the British Men of Letters, and then that lady had the devil's baby, and then Mary trapped herself in that weird rift.
Baby. Okay.
Yeah, and then Mary brass knuckled her way into the rift with the devil and it closed, and everybody was happy because Mary Winchester is off our screens. Crowley's dead. God damn it. Like, I know why he died. I knew he was going to die at some point because I knew like they asked him to take a massive pay cut and he was like, dude, no way. Meanwhile, Castiel was like, sure, why not? I'll take a pay cut to be a reoccurring versus like a series regular. So I know Cass isn't dead, even though he's dead now at the moment. He got
How do you know he's not dead?
Because I read an article a long time ago about how he accepted the pay cut, whereas Crowley didn't accept the pay cut. So they bring Castiel back, but Crowley's actually dead. I guess Rowena might be dead. I don't know. You never saw her actually die, but apparently her burnt crisp body's down there. I don't know. So that's where season 12 ended. And then I went back and rewatched the musical episode, which was amazing. I don't remember it. Maybe I fell asleep during. I don't know, but it was amazing.
Yeah, we just recorded on that one. So I'm excited to hear your opinion of the first episode of season 13.
Oh boy. All right. Well, and then I caught up on Only Murders in the Building, which I
did not watch
that. Oh, I didn't watch it yet. I mean, okay, I'm not caught up now.
I didn't watch today's.
I caught up to right before the current one.
Then we're on the same page.
We are, yes. Very good. God dang, I love that show so much. There's so many good other actors and stars and like Irish Paul Rudd and the stuntmen and how they're just like breaking the breakaway bottles, but one of them was real, and it's it's so good, so good. So all right, that's what I've been doing. We got a little bit of news, starting off with Kyle Chandler is in talks. He has not been cast.
What?
He is in
I
talks.
thought he had been cast.
He's in talks to star as Hal Jordan in DC's Lantern series. You might know Kyle Chandler from things such as Godzilla. He's been in the more recent Godzilla films. I don't personally know how I like him as an actor. I don't see him as Hal Jordan. What are your thoughts?
I don't know Hal Jordan well enough. I know him as Ryan Reynolds, and that was terrible. So I really don't. I think one of his kids one of the Green Lantern's kids was in Stargirl. Maybe they were twins. I can't remember that. But I don't think it was Hal Jordan that was Green Lantern in that. I'd have to go back. I binged that show pretty quick, and so I feel like when you binge the shows, you remember less. But I can't really have an opinion on it. He could be perfect. He could be terrible. I don't know.
That's true. I could be like, I don't really know how I feel about this. And then, he's amazing, right? Because I'm just not
familiar enough with his character.
I just don't see him. He's been in a lot of stuff. You'll probably recognize him if you.
I know who Kyle Chandler is. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember the show Early Edition? Did you ever see that show? He would get the newspaper a day early, and then he would go around trying to prevent bad things that were in the newspaper.
That's kind of.
I think it was out in the 90s. He was the main character. He was.
I was on the Power Rangers kick. Come on, man.
I was watching a little bit more grown-up TV then.
You were 35 years old, so I don't know what to tell you.
Asking my mom if I could stay up till 11 so I could watch ER and Chicago Hope.
Oh no. We got a trailer this week. What was the trailer that we got this week?
I actually did not watch it. It was Thunderbolts.
Oh wow, you didn't watch it. Okay.
I didn't watch it.
That's fair. It looks good. It looks promising. I will leave it at that.
I'm done watching these trailers, man.
That's a good idea. I don't know. I do have some questions. I hope that they get it right. It kind of gives me some Winter Soldier-ish vibes, and I'll just.
Oh, that's a good thing. So one thing, I know we were talking about this a little bit in our Discord, is this is a little bit of like the Marvel rejects. Like obviously Yelena, I don't think it's
like the Suicide Squad, but for Marvel, yeah.
Well, I was thinking Legends of Tomorrow, because the DC.
Oh, that's another good one, actually. Yeah.
Arrowverse, I really like when they started that show. I'm like, this is literally the rejects of all these shows. They're characters I didn't think were great actors. And then it ended up being my favorite Arrowverse show. And it was the only show that I felt like never jumped the shark, maybe because it was self-aware of what it was. So I'm really kind of hoping that's what this is, because it's like, well, you weren't supposed to like US Agent, but I didn't like US Agent. I didn't hate Taskmaster, but I know a lot of people had issues with her. Ghost, I think a lot of people felt like she was a weak character.
I didn't really care about her too much. That was my beef.
But I don't think we were supposed to care about her so much. I didn't feel like she was like the real villain. I felt like she was a traumatized child just trying to gain control of her life, literally.
She was also dying too. I mean, she went through that thing. Like, I get it, but I just never connected with her character, I guess. I don't know.
Red Guardian I wanted more of.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. And I think
Bob.
Obviously Bucky. I can't get enough Bucky. Oh, and I cannot wait to see Julia Dreyfus.
She's in the Avengers Tower, looks like, yeah.
She's, oh my gosh, her character is the Valentino de Fontaine.
Allegra.
I always forget it.
She's got 75 names.
Allegra de Fontaine.
Yeah.
Constantine.
Well, we got some DC casting news. This one's confirmed. Matthias Schoenaerts has been cast as a villain in Supergirl. I'm going to be honest, not very familiar with his work. Not sure.
I don't know who that is.
I like his name. It just got cast just before we came on the air, so I don't really know much about him. I'm gonna look into him, but I mean, I'm all in on Supergirl. I'm excited for Millie Alcock. I can't pronounce it.
Actor. He made his debut at the age of 13 in 1992 in Danes, which was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film.
All right, I'm in.
I'm on his Wikipedia page. Oh, he looks a little familiar.
Interesting. Okay.
Right.
Well, what's the next piece of news that we got as we look into?
So there's a crossover comic series with Sonic and Justice League coming in March 2025. Is this going to be kid friendly? Because Logan is on Sonic kick right now.
Dude, Sonic 3 comes out in like December or something. So.
Oh, he asked me today on the way home from school, when we get home, do you want to watch Sonic 2 with me?
Those movies are so underrated. Dude. I cannot.
No, they are. I did watch the first one with him. It was really good. But, I don't want to watch it 17 times. Sorry, look.
That's fair. I don't either. Harper has been all about Descendants, Rise of Red, and that's probably the weakest one of the 4 Descendants films that Disney put out. But yeah, no, it is supposed to be. It is supposed to be. Also, another actor I'm not too familiar with. Daveed Diggs has been cast in season 5 of The
From
Boys.
Hamilton.
I never saw Hamilton.
You should see Hamilton.
Okay. I'm going to take this piece of news.
On Disney Plus.
Because Disney Plus is also going to be releasing Wizards of Waverly Place, the sequel series with Selena Gomez on October 29th. I know you were too old for this. I was on the cusp. I never really watched it. I know what it is. I had siblings who watched it. It was on the early days or the later days of Disney before Disney just like folded. But Selena Gomez is coming back to Disney. It's a sequel series, so let's see how it goes, because a lot of these sequel series like iCarly and all those that kind of return, they get canceled kind of quick, for better or for worse, but we'll see.
Bring back Kids Incorporated.
Bring back Even Stevens. Just kidding. Shia LaBeouf has like schizophrenia and is psycho, so let's not do that.
James Cameron has joined the board of directors for AI Stability.
Yeah, what the hell is that about?
Well, so is he going to try to like...
I don't know.
Improve AI, or is he going to try to like make sure it's used appropriately when...
I don't know. AI in film it doesn't sound like it's going to go down a good path. That's all I have to say about that. I don't know.
I wonder if there's going to be an argument though for like we can replace stunt doubles with AI, because like stunt doubles die sometimes. I wonder if there's going to be like an argument for that.
I mean, they're already trying to replace extras in movies with just printing.
See, that's bullshit.
And then writing. They want to write movies and just hire writers for cheap to come on and
bullshit.
Exactly. So I don't know. I don't like it. AI in film and comic books gets me very nervous. So sure.
AI doesn't belong in art. Mm-mm. But I could see there being an argument for something like, well, this stunt's too dangerous to put a real person. I don't know. I don't know enough about AI. I don't know anything about AI. I don't know anything about CGI.
And you're creating the Terminator, and then we're all going to die. So, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah.
I know you don't play Fortnite, but if you do play Fortnite.
But I do know how to do the, what do you call it?
Oh, is that the floss?
Yes, I can floss really well.
Oh, anyways. Well, you can do this dance now, because Deadpool's Bye 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 in character is now in Fortnite. I have played Fortnite. I haven't played in a long time, but yeah, I can just imagine now every child is going to be out there doing the Bye 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 dance for Fortnite.
You know what? I'm here for that. Let's see your Bye 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 dance. Brielle actually started learning it after. Oh, Brielle watched X-Men First Class, so her next one is the Wolverine. So I did watch part of First Class with her, and I'm here for all her questions.
I'm impressed. All right. Now, we already talked about this Penguin news. Why don't you wrap up our news with this last piece of news?
Freddie Prinze Jr. will star in the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, coming to theaters July 18th, 2025. I'm here for that, dude. I love Freddie Prinze Jr.
I am so in the bag. He has a horror podcast, too. He's a big horror fan. So I see the clips on TikTok all the time, actually. I forget the name.
I love
it very, very big.
Star Wars. Nice. Yeah, I think he's going to be in New York. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
There's no time. I don't even know. Like, I feel like I already have a full agenda for New York. I don't know that we're going to see anybody. And like, they keep adding people. I'm like, did I know these people were here? I didn't see panels with them.
I almost feel like if I went, we wouldn't even see each other at that point.
I know, exactly. And then I feel like there's certain comics I want to like. So I just got volume 7 of Something's Killing the Children. And I have the volumes, and the volumes are so pretty, but I want to catch up before I go. And volume 8 doesn't come out till November. So I'm going to have to buy the single issues. And it's going to make it not look as pretty in my bookshelf.
That's fair. I don't know. But that's our news. I don't know what the premise of this movie's going to be. I still remember What You Did Last Summer, maybe. I don't know. But ending on some horror news.
They did a second one.
They did. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer or something like that.
And they even did a Supernatural episode. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
They did. The Man with the Hook. Now
they better be bringing back someone else. I mean, like, who didn't die? Jennifer Love Hewitt.
You ruined my sick transition moments, man.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, the moment's gone.
Much like a sleep pattern is ruined.
The moment's gone.
Nightmare.
Okay.
I ruined Matt's transition into
my transitions were set up talking about hookmen and horrors. So you know what, guys? Go to sleep. We'll see you in your dreams or nightmares, as we are going to be talking A Nightmare on Elm Street. Bitch. Hey guys. A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984 film directed by Wes Craven, starring Heather Langenkamp, Johnny Depp. Yes, that Johnny Depp.
Premiering Johnny Depp.
His big break. I mean, he was in like 21 Jump Street before, but this is like his big film break.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. And that was a TV show, man.
Oh, I know I know that, but I didn't know it was before 1984.
I thought it was. Anyways, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. This film was filmed on a budget of $1.1 million, and the box office was $57 million, which isn't bad for a horror film. It's got a 7.4 out of 10 star rating on IMDb. And then, of course, this film kind of is a supernatural slasher film. Like I said, written and directed by Wes Craven. It's the first installment of the series. The film's plot concerns a group of teenagers who are targeted by Freddy Krueger, an undead child killer who can murder people through their dreams as retribution against their parents who burned him alive. It was released on November 9th, 1984. It was in limited theater run until its nationwide theatrical release on November 16th. Ended up grossing, like I said, $57 million. It actually got critical acclaim, surprisingly enough, and has since been considered one of the greatest horror films ever made. It spawned a franchise consisting of 6 sequels. It also had a television series. It also crossed over with Friday the 13th, like I said. All sorts of merchandise, all sorts of big things. And it was actually one of the first films produced by New Line Cinemas, who by that point was mostly only distributing films. It actually led the company to becoming a successful major film studio and thus nicknamed the House That Freddy.
They were on the verge of bankruptcy and
they were.
He saved them.
He did. This was actually my first horror movie too. I popped my cherry with Freddy Krueger, you know?
Wow.
Who better than for Freddy Krueger to pop up? And I was very young. I was probably way too young, and it kind of scarred me for a little bit. I didn't want to go to sleep. I think I was like 8 years old or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
I can't imagine my 8-year-old son watching Freddy Krueger right now because they scare easily. He scares easily, but I was 8, man, and it might explain a few things about my life. So, Lauren, why don't you tell us your first time with this movie?
Well, it was about 24 hours ago. I had to pay for it. So Brielle and I watched it last night. Funny enough, though, I think the first movie I ever watched illegally that was like a shitty copy was Freddy vs. Jason in 2003. Like I
love that movie, man.
I mean, I had just had Kaylee, so I had some friends over because I wasn't really going anywhere with a newborn, and I remember them like having to like connect something to the TV and it looked so bad. Like one of the girls from Dawson's Creek was in it. Like I don't even remember the movie. I just remember it
wasn't one of the Destiny's Child or TLC? She was in it or something, wasn't she?
Oh, maybe was she?
And then it wasn't Miles. There was some people in it. There's one dude. I think one of the guys is from Supernatural. He was in it at one point.
Okay, well now I'm looking that up. Oh, I did look up 21 Jump Street came out in 1987.
Oh, so
Johnny Depp
I was ahead of his time.
At this time.
This was his film debut. You're right. Well, hold on. Speaking of Supernatural, why don't you kick us off with a couple fun facts before we kind of talk about the film a little bit more?
So I'm going to kick it off with a Supernatural fun fact. So Robert Englund himself was actually in an episode of Supernatural, and he played a doctor that temporarily put Dean to sleep so he could talk to death. I feel like there had to have been some correlation there in his casting.
That's the whole reason they did that. Damn well that's why. Because, Robert Englund, this was like what he's known for. Somebody else did end up playing Freddy in the last film that they actually came out with. It's the guy who played in Watchmen as Rorschach. Wasn't as good. He's no Robert Englund. But, it wasn't bad. I believe the film's rights are hung up right now. That's why we haven't gotten a new one.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to make a list of the movies, and I was like, well, I'll just do the ones that Robert Englund's in. And that took a lot longer with all the appearances he has made.
Yeah.
We will wrap up this episode with that. I literally made a list, and once I started, I was too far in to quit at that point. In Scream, we see Wes Craven dressed as Freddy, pretending to be the janitor, and obviously he wrote and directed this. One of the cops in this was also a cop in Scream, which is another Wes Craven film.
It is.
In the original script, which this is what I had heard. So then I was surprised in watching this movie. And then when I found this fun fact, I was like, oh, okay. Freddy was a child molester in the original script. However, they decided to change that to avoid certain accusations of exploiting a series of child molestations that I guess were going on in California around that time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it was rewritten, though, in 2010 when they redid the movie. They did make him a child molester then. So I was surprised when they said he was just murdering children.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so I guess I remember I always thought he was like, I knew he killed children, but I also thought he like did other things to children.
They didn't mention that at all in this.
They didn't, but I thought it was insinuated for some reason because he's killing children. So I just assumed like he was kidnapping, doing stuff and killing them. I don't know. Like that's what I always thought he was doing.
Because I was confused. It was like, oh, I thought there was gonna be more. Because when the mom's telling the story, she would say that he would take them to the boiler room, but there was never any insinuation that he did more than just murder them.
Huh. Yeah. And then, of course, vigilante street justice by the parents, they end up killing and burning him alive and all that kind of stuff. So
got a freaking child murder out there that the cops
I can't
for you,
say,
Mom.
Okay, they were right at that point, but then to go ahead and drug your kids later on in life, like that was kind of like repressing their memories and dreams and all that. It was like, you started off with making some sense, and then you kind of took a turn there, and I don't know if I'm following you the whole way.
I mean, all the parents in horror movies are not the best.
No, they're really not. They're really not. Yeah, so it was interesting. Now, Wes Craven actually first came up with the basic idea for the film from a series of articles in the Los Angeles Times over a 3-year period about a group of Southeast Asian refugees from the Hmong tribe, several of whom died in the throes of horrific nightmares. The group had come to the U.S. to escape murderous reign of Pol Pot. And within a year of arriving, 3 men had died, all in similar situations. The young, otherwise healthy men would have a nightmare, refuse to sleep for as long as they could, and then when he finally fell asleep from exhaustion, he awoke screaming and then suddenly died. Autopsy results revealed that they had not died from heart failure, however, they just had simply died. Weird. It was this inability to find a cause of death that intrigued Craven so much. Medical authorities have since called the phenomenon Asian death syndrome, a variant of sudden unexpected death syndrome, SUDS, and Brugada syndrome. Now, I remember this is always like, people are like, did you know it was based on like a true story? Yeah, I kind of knew like the background into this. Like there was a whole series of like somebody having nightmares and they died. But it makes like really clever. Like I think Wes Craven was really clever to kind of find that story and then turn it into what A Nightmare on Elm Street is.
Yeah. He pulled at different inspirations for a bunch of things. I didn't write them all down. That fun fact came from IMDb, but it was interesting seeing some of the other things that, what goes on in the minds of these creators, how they just pull inspiration from so many different things.
And then it just spawns these like crazy films.
New creatures, yeah. So the boiler room scenes were actually filmed in the basement of a jail, which they later condemned not too long later for having asbestos in them. So
everybody started having crazy dreams anyways because of all the asbestos.
Yeah, right. I mean, Robert Englund and Nancy are still alive, so that's good.
They are, yes. They are.
The scene where you see Freddy's arms get really long and it looks ridiculous nowadays.
Okay, what did you think about that? It was such a ridiculous. Anybody who thought that was scary was insane.
No,
because it's so corny looking. Like he's in like the street and he's like with his little wild, wacky, inflatable arms, and it's just like, okay, Freddy, what are we doing here? How do you not stop and kind of like, okay, guy, what are we doing?
So it was puppet arms and fishing poles.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah. I got a big one here.
The first time we see Freddy is actually not Robert Englund, but the special effects guy, Charles Berladinelli, because he was the only one that knew exactly how to put the gloves on and like put the knives into the gloves. So they just had him shoot the first one.
Oh, I just kind of assumed they had the knives on the gloves and you just slide your hand in. I
used to have in the beginning, he's putting them. There's a whole scene where he's like putting the knives into the gloves.
Oh, that's right. That is right. What a creepy, like another creepy concept, right? He just has one glove with knives, like, and like the scratching on all the boiler room stuff, like, ugh.
Yep.
So the mom had the other one?
Yeah, she had it in the like hiding in the basement, and she like showed it to her daughter.
I don't know why I forgot all about that.
We murdered him. See, I have his glove.
Oh, no glove, no love, man. What can I say?
What can I say? Fit. The glove fit.
You must have. Freddy came back just to acquit himself. It wasn't mine.
Just say it wasn't you.
Pasqua, Heather Langenkamp's boyfriend at the time of the shooting, is credited for creating Freddy's nursery rhyme. So you might have heard it. It's 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, lock the door. 5, 6, grab a crucifix. Yeah, get your crucifix. 7, 8. I can't remember 7, 8. Something never sleep again. Anyways, yeah, that's that. And then actually, fun fact about Heather Langenkamp, she beat over 200 actresses for the role of Nancy, and some of the actresses who tried out for the role included Jennifer Grey, Demi Moore, and Courtney Cox. Very interesting. And then Wes Craven would go on to use Courtney Cox a decade later in Scream. So
is he the one that gave her the terrible haircut in the third one? Because gosh,
I can't remember if it is or not, but gee, it was the second one, wasn't it? It was the second or third. It was the second one, I thought.
I thought it was the third one. Who knows? All right.
Johnny Depp was actually cast because Wes Craven's daughter thought he was dreamy. Ooh.
Imagine if Wes Craven's daughter didn't think that and we had never seen him again.
Probably
then we would not know that then maybe there would still be rum. The rum wouldn't all be gone.
Actually, Johnny Depp would have just been a rock star, so we probably would have known him one way or another. Because he has a band. He's played in a band. He's a musician.
Yeah, he played in a band in South Florida, actually, in Miami.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So the little girl skipping rope actually lived in Tina's house.
Interesting.
So this
That filming only took 32 days, though?
I didn't know that until yesterday. Actually,
I mean, the wild, wacky inflatable arms could have given it away that this wasn't going to be a very long film to film. We had 3 sets the entire movie.
So Nancy's shown watching a horror movie at one point, and I'm thinking, like, why is she watching a horror movie? I mean, I guess it was to try to keep herself up, but the movie she's watching is Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead from 1981.
That doesn't wake you up?
Craven, I mean, I guess, yeah, a horror movie would wake you up, but it was like, if you're like terrified of this monster murdering you in your dream and you're watching horror movies,
okay, I'd be so dead because I fall asleep. I cannot stay awake. Like, once I get tired, that's it for me. I'm out. I'm done. Like,
I have a few comments that I wrote down on my phone about some of the nonsense.
All right, we'll get to the chaos in a minute. Then we'll get to the chaos. Okay. We'll get to the chaos, okay?
So Craven decided to include the scene because Sam Raimi had featured a poster of Craven's The Hills Have Eyes from 1977 in that film as a jab to show the audiences that the movie they're watching is scarier than Craven. As a response, Wes Craven then decided to have Raimi show Freddy Krueger's glove in the tool shed of Evil Dead 2 from 1987. And then later, after Wes Craven passed away, Sam Raimi put his glove in the background in Ash vs. Evil Dead in 2015 as a nod to him.
I love this little back and forth they have, friendly jabs. I'm going to call them friendly. I'm going to assume they're friendly because
I think they were friendly, yeah. Especially because he did it after he passed as like a nod to him.
Yeah, it's like a nod. That's awesome.
It definitely seemed friendly, yeah.
I do. And then in the opening dream, Tina sees and hears lambs. This is a nod to the phrase.
Go ahead. I saw this and I'm like, why the fuck is there like a goat here? What's happening?
It's Jurassic Park, all right? It's like a lamb to the slaughter, which originates from the Bible. It means that innocent and helpless creatures are unknowingly in danger. An apt description of Tina and her friends. Ooh, foreshadowing much. Ooh. If you want more of Freddy Krueger, here's some films where Robert Englund actually plays Freddy. So we obviously have the 1984 film. And then we get a sequel, Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 in 1985. Then we take a couple-year break, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. 87 also brings us Dawkins. It's a music video, Dream Warriors music video. 88 gives us the Freddy Krueger TV special. And then we get a Nightmare on Elm Street for the Dream Master, followed up by Fat Boys, Are You Ready, Freddy music video. And 88 was just stacked for Freddy Krueger because we also get DC Follies TV show, which was only 1 episode. 89 gives us a Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child, which is the 5th installment. The narrator and Freddy was the audio. There's an audiobook version that Freddy actually narrated because why not? This whole series is chaos, folks. 88 to 1990, there was actually a TV series with 44 episodes called Freddy's Nightmares. In 1991, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. But then in 94, just kidding, we're back with a new nightmare. In 1998, he was a part of The Simpsons. 2003, we get Freddy versus Jason, the big titular bout. They weigh in Vegas 1 month before Freddy versus Jason's premiere. A weigh-in over at Bailey's Las Vegas Hotel on the odds of winning for the 2 movie serial killers. Place your bets, folks. That movie is one that we are going to have to talk about at some point because I got a lot of thoughts. All right, a lot of thoughts. 2005, we get a Nightmare on Elm Street, Real Nightmares. It was a game show which Freddy introduces and challenges the contestants to face their fears.
There's only 6
In fact, it was just Joe Rogan in a mask, and it was Fear Factor. And then 2011, he was in Mortal Kombat. 2018, The Goldbergs. And then, of course, there's one I got to put on here that you didn't put on. There was a whole fun episode. It wasn't Freddy outright, but in Rick and Morty, there was this really fun episode where it's like a Freddy Krueger type character that it is Freddy Krueger. And his whole thing is oh, bitch. Cause Freddy loves saying the word bitch. He's got a wife, he's got a kid, and his wife's mad because he's always out there killing and going in dreams and never spending time with the family. And he's just like, oh, bitch, get back. It's hilarious. If you've seen the Rick and Morty one, folks,
Well, I didn't know if that was Freddy Krueger or Robert Englund, because I went through his whole IMDb page and everything.
I don't think it's Robert Englund, but I had to just
okay, that's what I was like. I'm just going to focus on the Robert Englund ones because when I IMDb searched Nightmare on Elm Street, I got overwhelmed and I was like, I'm just going to go to his.
There's
IMDb.
So much nonsense. So I got to hear your chaotic thoughts. As somebody who's just watched this for the first time, actually.
So Brielle, I feel had more thoughts than I did. And For anybody who doesn't know, Brielle's my 12-year-old. She loves horror. I don't know. She takes it like a champ. She doesn't get nightmares. There's never anything. Her only request is like, I want to
don't
watch
live
an
on Elm
episode of
Street,
Friends
so.
after. It's never like, oh, can I, sleep in your bed? I mean, she tries to sleep in my bed whenever she can anyways, but not because she's scared. It's never a correlation to her being scared. But she's so funny. Like, it comes up and, she's like, wow, rated R in the 80s. This is going to be bad.
Oh, it was.
Well,
it was bad, but I don't know if in the bad we all think it was bad. Like, it was bad because it was like, woof.
So she kept finding correlations to Stranger Things. She's like, is that why Nancy's named Nancy in Stranger Things? And I'm like, oh, maybe. And then like when Freddy's coming out of I didn't think about that either. But like when Freddy's coming out of the wall, she goes, oh, that looks like when the Demogorgon comes out of the wall. I'm like, you're right. It kind of does look like when the Demogorgon comes out of or tries to come through the wall. God, Nancy's clothes, man, the 80s. I'm like watching her in one scene. I'm like, I'm pretty sure my grandma had that outfit in the 90s. It's like
everybody's grandma did. Everybody's grandma did. It was awful. The hair, everything. Yeah. So
there were some nods too. So like Nancy at one point looks in the mirror because she looks very tired and everything. She goes, God, I look like I'm 20 years old. She was 20 at the time. But they actually, I don't know if we recorded this yet or I just started prepping for the next episode. In the Supernatural episode, Halt and Catch Fire, the actress says that, God, I look like a hag. I look like I'm 24. And she is 24. So I got to assume that was a Nightmare on Elm Street nod. The stairs scene. I really liked the stairs scene. Do you know when she's going the stairs and her feet get stuck?
Yes. I tried to find out how they did that. Cool and yeah.
But it was like somebody said pancake mix, and then like Wes Craven said it was like gravy. So they said maybe it was a combination of them. But it's like, how many times have you had a dream where you're like trying to drive or you're trying to walk or run and you can't? So I felt like that was such a good visual depiction of like in a dream where you don't have control.
Dream a little dream. Yeah. No, well, because you got to think too, like one of the creepy things about dreams is you're right. You don't have the control. And I think that's what makes this movie so creepy is like things like that could happen. And then the aspect of if you die in the dream, you die in real life is pretty creepy. And then like the characters are seeing them get attacked and everything. And the boyfriend gets blamed when his girlfriend is the first victim and is viciously killed and whatnot. Leading up to like Johnny Depp's death is probably the coolest one in my opinion. I really liked that one because he gets sucked into the bed and then it's just like a blender of just fountain of blood up to the ceiling. That was probably my favorite death.
I'm like, what did that cop say? And Brielle goes that he needs a mop. I'm like, oh.
I don't really know that a mop's going to do the job, but yeah.
Really, we don't need a body bag. We need him up. Okay, so Johnny Depp's mother walks in. I'm like, how old is this woman? This looks like his grandmother. And then they show Johnny Depp's dad. And I'm like, what the fuck? So we looked it up and like the guy who played his dad was like 35 and they're supposed to be 15. That's fine. But then the mom was in her 50s. I don't know why they cast such like a mismatched like age differentiation. Oh, and now Apple's saying that I closed my standing goal even though I'm not standing.
You were running from Freddy in the boiler room. Like the boiler room was always like creepy that Freddy's just hanging out down there and he's just like, hey,
getting
bitch, all that kind of. And I thought actually probably the best part about this series is the cool aspect of like you can pull him out of your dreams to kill him, but then of course he doesn't really die. But I feel like that's such a cool concept.
I think the part that I really like cringed the most at was when the Freddy's tongue came out of the phone.
Oh, he's like licking her ear. Oh
my God, it was terrible.
And all the things that they do to like, ugh.
That was nasty. That was so freaking nasty. I just like,
yeah, it was.
It's like whenever you see a gross guy do like in the creepy things with
anything
with the tongue, it's like, ugh. It's like so like different levels of like.
Because it's just like skeezy. It's so like, oh, I don't want somebody's. I never like want somebody's tongue on my body like that. Like, don't lick me. Don't like any. It's gross.
I think the only other note I have down here was that when the mom comes in and takes all the coffee pots and takes like the coffee cups and there's a pot in there, then all of a sudden Nancy pulls out from under her bed a whole fucking coffee maker. The coffee's already
she's got brewed. The stash.
It's like, how many coffee pots do they have in their house? We only have one coffee maker.
Dude, could you imagine that electric bill? Like, why is the electric so high? I don't know, Dad. Why are you hiding Mom's death? Why are you keeping me awake with drugs? All right. Like, there's a lot going on here. Okay. Freddy was just misunderstood. I don't know. He was killing kids, but then the parents are out here like drugging their pet kids. He definitely was not misunderstood. He was not misunderstood. Murderer.
But no, and then you got like when they hear like Freddy or they hear something and they don't put pants on and they walk outside to investigate.
Oh yeah, they're all like half naked.
in my life been like, oh, what was that weird sound outside? Let me not put on pants and go investigate it.
Just
If I
gonna
hear a
walk
weird noise
outside
outside,
in a
I just
bare
assume
ass.
it's an animal or a neighbor or something. Like, I'm not going out to investigate
My
it.
doors and windows are locked. I'm not going outside, period. I got cameras in the garage. I got cameras on the front porch. I'm pulling up the app. I'm like, okay, we're good here. I don't see anything. Good night. I'm not going out to investigate. That's some white people shit.
Right. I'm like, that's the ice maker. That's a cat. You're fine. But
Yeah, the cat's
Brielle
out
made a
there
comment.
meowing because I didn't feed it.
Oh my God, we'll get the cat. So we don't have cats, but there's quite a few cats that roam the neighborhood that don't really belong to anybody. And we'll get them like, we'll sometimes hear them. They must be mating because we'll hear the like, "Meow." Like it's bad.
Okay, but like my cat, literally, I woke up 5
triggered.
minutes late the other day, and that cat came to the bathroom door while I was showering and made sure to let me know how pissed off she was that I didn't feed her at my normal time.
Well,
Like,
that was really mean of you to do. She's on a
well,
schedule.
she's scarier than Freddy Krueger for that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. She's scarier. I would rather deal with Freddy than my cat yelling at me at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, neither of them are letting you sleep. Brielle made a comment that nobody died right away because usually we have that first kill in a horror movie.
That's right. We get the dream, but nobody actually dies immediately. That is very interesting. I like that because it kind of builds the suspense up a little bit.
Oh, and I noticed that when Johnny climbs through her window, I'm like, oh my God, this is straight out of Scream. But obviously, Scream didn't want that. But I mean, like Billy came through the window.
Wes Craven.
I mean, it was like to a T. But I mean, I had known about a lot of the like Halloween nods and obviously Billy's last name and everything. But I thought that was cool.
I do too. Like, I imagine a time when you can sneak in and out the windows like that. You can't really climb into people's houses. Again, everyone's got cameras these days.
Josh used to do that. Josh has snuck in through my window before. It's been a long time.
Oh, ages ago. Ages. I wish Josh would sneak through my window. But
know he will.
No, I mean, I like this movie, man. This is probably like maybe because it's my first time, so I always think about it so fondly. That's true. But I like this. This movie's good. Is it quality? No, it's chaotic beyond reason. Like this movie is just absolute chaos and doesn't make any sense. And it's so it's probably like the cheesiest of the slasher film genre, but it's still really good to me. I mean, you can get enjoyment out of it. Freddy Krueger is kind of like a goofy, you isn't a serious.
He enjoys it. I feel like he stands out from the other killers because you visually see him enjoying it. Whereas like
he's
Jason
like a stand-up comedian who just happens to be killing people.
Well, I feel like him, Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers are, I would say, the three like OG killers. Obviously, you got Ghostface later, but Ghostface is always different. But he is enjoying it, whereas Jason and Michael act like it's their job. Like this is just what they do.
They're just another day in the office. Jason's like, this mask is stifling. My contacts are jacked up. This machine. Look, man, these clothes are just so hot.
Well,
they got me chasing kids in the middle of summer in Pennsylvania. It's hot.
Well, like we rewatched the one with Jared Padalecki recently, and he seemed like irritated at one point with like that they had like gotten him at some point, and he did like his face is covered, but
he's walking the whole time. He's like, I hit my 10,000 steps, man. Can we just end this? All right,
Well, I think Jason just really wants to be left alone. I think he just really wants no.
Truly, if nobody ever went to Camp Crystal Lake, then you're good. What?
Who the fuck sends their child to a summer camp on a lake when the child does not know how to swim?
Yeah.
I think Jason's mom needs to start pointing fingers in different directions. Like
she shouldn't have been killing those teenagers. She probably could have been like, hey, that was malpractice on my end. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
She should start a swimming school for children right before they go to
Why doesn't Jason just kill negligent moms then?
Oh, that would be
instead of killing teenage kids. All right, listen, Jason, you should probably be out there killing negligent moms.
Philanthropic,
because your mom
was not the best.
Listen, if you truly treat killing like your job, then you should just kill moms who are not like Casey Anthony. You can probably start with her. All right, gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give you this one's free. All right, this one's absolutely free. She's very out there still. You start there and then work your way around. Okay, just saying. Maybe Kanye West too while you're at it, but that's whatever. But you're right. He does enjoy it. He quips. It's the quips, man. I love the quips because Jason and Michael, they don't talk.
No.
Yeah. Ghostface doesn't talk. Michael, Jason, like they don't talk. So there's something funny and kind of almost creepier about somebody who's like chatting you up while they're, chasing you around working to kill you.
When he's like, Nancy.
And like scraping on and you're just like, oh, my ears.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Get over here, bitch. I don't know why. Like, that's the funniest thing to me. That it's like, dude, you're so misogynistic, but he's just like, yes, bitch.
I bet there's less bitches in the later ones. We will have to watch Petty Rich Jason.
Oh God. Oh, there's a lot of bitches in that one. But
watched Die Hard and he felt like saying bitch a lot. Again, that's a
he needed a tagline, all right. He didn't know. He was like, I'm the first big slasher that gets to speak. I gotta have something people are gonna remember me by. You're right. Everybody's a bitch.
See, when Joey watches Friends, he then starts calling everyone bitch. So they have to leave before Joe. Or no, when Joey watches Die Hard, not Friends. He watches Die Hard, he starts calling everybody bitch. So maybe Freddie just watched Die Hard.
Freddie walks in, it smells like bitch in here.
He would need a DeLorean to do that though.
Just ridiculous. But Lauren, what's next week's episode? What are we going to do next week? Now that we've dove into the dreams and nightmares of Freddy Krueger.
So I think we're going to talk some horror comics, so we can give some references. If you want to get a little spooky this spooky season, I'll probably throw
October's
in some
next week
books as well. So we'll talk a little bit of that.
We're in October, the best month ever, man. Let us know your horror recommendations.
Well, this comes.
We are going, yeah.
So close.
Oh,
but it's spooky season.
Oh, it is spooky season's here. The leaves are changing here in my area. A couple more weeks, I'll be down there in Orlando. So Scott, we will figure something out, my man. Trust that. And then, guys, as always, patreon.com/HopsGeekNews if you want to come watch some Deadpool Wolverine with us. Hopsgeek Booze for Haley if you want to get a spooky run in. Show us your Halloween costumes, man. Tag us in your Halloween costumes and all that kind of stuff. We'd love to see them. Go check out our Cantina Hour where we talked Penguin and Agatha, and we will see you all next week talking some good old-fashioned horror comics. Cheers, bitch.